No, you're the one that told me to apply for my husband's maybe benefit if I was married to 10 years.
Yep.
And I did. Okay. So I had to go through all that because we got divorced,
Right.
after 10 years. So then they sent me a letter saying that it was denied because I didn't live with him. Yeah, that was in 1958 through 1969. Yeah. That's why I didn't know where they got that, where I had to be living with him.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all. So let's see here. So they looked at his benefit amount and they determined that his benefit amount, you could get money on his record, right?
Right. That's what she told me then.
Okay. That makes no sense whatsoever. That's probably just for that the lump sum death payment, $255. But you don't care about that because you want the monthly benefits years, and you are entitled to benefits on his record. If they're higher, you are entitled to those benefits. So I'm thinking maybe it's a denial letter for the
death benefits. The 255?
Yeah, exactly. A letter saying, okay, you don't qualify for this, which is true. But there's a second application that hopefully it's still going through. So I bet you if you call them, they will say, the 255, we denied that. But the other second application, we're still processing that, or they've already processed it. So call them up and ask them, says, okay, hey, what about my second application for monthly benefits?
It just didn't make sense, and I didn't realize that they were looking at something else, So
because they probably took two applications, one for survivor benefits and one for the death payment, and they would definitely deny the death payment one, but you don't care about that. You want the monthly benefits.
Because you said if he made more than I did or whatever, I would get it, and he did at that time because I worked at that time. And that was the whole thing that I said I probably made more money than he did, but maybe at that time he was making more money.
Have you checked your bank account today?
Oh, no, not yet.
I would check it. I would definitely check it.
Oh, okay.
And if the money is not there, then call them up and say, hey, what's going on? Is there a second application that you're still processing?
Is it on the 3rd? I'm like, my other check comes on the 3rd. Would I have to wait till tomorrow? No.
You're probably going to get some back pay. So if they process the back pay, then they'll put that $177 times however many months.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll check out.
And the result was, she contacted me later that day and found out she got close to $2,000 in her bank account. So not only will she receive over $170 a month more in her Social Security check for the rest of her life, but she also got a nice retroactive back pay. I contacted her the next day just to see if we can get some more retroactive benefits and more back pay, but unfortunately, it looks like that was the most we could get. But it was a beautiful thing. All right, so a couple of takeaways. Number one, divorced spouse benefits, divorced surviving spouse benefits. If you were married to someone for 10 years or longer and you're no longer married, or you got remarried after the age of 60 years old, you can go back on a previous spouse, before your most recent spouse, 2 spouses ago, 3 spouses ago. As long as you were married to someone for 10 years or longer, you are entitled to benefits on their record. If their benefit amount is higher, then absolutely you should go ahead and apply. This call was the result of a call I had with her a few weeks earlier, where I went down the entire list. We were kind of digging for dollars to see if we could find her some more money. And if you want to do that yourself, give me a call. Obviously, I also have a video up there. I'll put a video in the comments. So you can go through the entire list and see if there's any more money you can get from Social Security, Medicare, anywhere. All right. So married to someone for 10 years or longer. She waited a little bit because she had to get her marriage certificate and divorce decree. I always recommend call Social Security first, schedule an appointment. As soon as you think you might be entitled to benefits, immediately call Social Security, set up an appointment. Why? Because that establishes what's called protective filing. So you're protected for that particular month. So if it takes you, a month, 2 months, 3 months to get the documentation, you're not going to lose those benefits. And I've got another video on protective filing, Social Security's greatest secret. If you have insomnia, that's the video to watch. It is just super, super boring. It's a very complicated policy. Social Security employees themselves don't really get it completely. The system that kind of follows protective filing and closeouts is not the best in the world. So if you think you might have some back pay or anything like that, give us a call Social Security and say, hey, I called you, months ago, and I told you I was interested in filing for, benefits. And then, here I am 3 months later, and I've got my documentation, right? So you are protected for the time you actually called Social Security. So make sure you remember that. And make sure anytime you contact Social Security in a case like that, make sure you find out the person's name you talk to, where they're at. If they're not your local office, if you call the 800 number, for instance, say, okay, jot a little note down in your calendar. I called Social Security, the 800 number, the local Social Security office. I talked to Ralph, I talked to John, and at this particular time, and he told me this and he told me that, and make sure you jot it down, okay? It's extremely, extremely important, and that way you can use it later to make sure you don't lose any benefits, okay? So call first, get documentation later. Another point, people are afraid to get benefits from previous spouses. That person was remarried and I don't want to cause any problems with the current ex-spouse or whatever the case may be. You won't. Social Security will never tell the other spouses that you are receiving benefits. They won't know. It won't affect their benefits. If you get $2,000 from a spouse that you were married to in the 1950s and they got married again in the 1970s, the other spouse can also get $2,000 if that's what they're entitled to. So you're not going to divide it by 2 or 3 or 4. So one benefit amount will not affect the other benefit amount. I mean, if Social Security did something like that, we'd have, you'd see a lot more murders on the news where one ex-spouse killed off the other ex-spouse, so their benefit amount would increase. So obviously, so Social Security. Social Security does some strange stuff, but I don't think they'll ever do that. Another issue that I hear people contact me and said, well, I can't get any money from an ex-spouse because we got divorced, and in the divorce settlement it said that's all the money I'm entitled to. Well, Social Security doesn't care. We don't care. I've gone through I've gone through thousands of divorce decrees. To confirm that a person was married to the person for 10 years. And, I always like to read those, in the 1960s and 1970s. Oh, I get the dog, but, you get to keep your 1971 Chevy Chevelle. And those are always kind of interesting. But we don't look on the divorce decree for, you don't get my Social Security. If your ex-spouse puts that in the divorce decree that, okay, you're signing off that you're not going to get my Social Security, we don't care. Or excuse me, the Social Security Administration doesn't care because it's not relevant. You are entitled to those benefits if you were married to the person for 10 years or longer. So what do you do? Call and set an appointment and then get your documentation. You call and set an appointment if again, the Social Security Administration is so backed up right now. You call and set up an appointment to take divorce survivor and spouse benefits, and your appointment won't be for another month or two. In that time, hopefully you get your documentation. If not, like I said, don't worry about it. Go to the appointment, tell them, okay, I've got my marriage certificate, but I'm still waiting on my divorce decree. And they'll say, okay, no problem. As we call it internally, we'll tickle you for 15 days. It's basically a follow-up. So in 15 days, and someone might call you and say, hey, did you find your divorce decree yet? Or they'll send you a letter and says, hey, you filed, but you haven't provided documentation. If you don't provide it in X amount of days, we're going to, deny your claim, yada, yada, yada. Don't worry about that. Just call the person up, call the claim specialist up and say, yeah, I haven't got it yet. They'll say, okay. And they'll, like I said, tickle you for another 15 days and they'll call you at 15 days and you got it yet? Nope, I ain't got it yet. So don't worry about it. Just work with the claim specialist and they'll give you all the time you need to get the documentation. So I guess the final point is, that lump sum death payment, the infamous $255 Social Security provides people when they lose a spouse or a parent. It's been the same since the 1950s, and they've never increased it. So it's, but you actually have to be living with the person. So in this particular case, she wasn't entitled to the $255 because the $255 is kind of a burial benefit, and they were divorced. So that $255 would have gone to that person's current spouse that he was married to when he passed away, and supposed to use that for burial expenses. I'm not sure how much $255 would cover in terms of burial expenses, maybe a bouquet of flowers. But that's also okay. So if you need help looking for a better type of burial final expense, they call it, working for Social Security for a few decades and taking thousands of surviving spouse claims, we have heard way too many stories from people directly. Oh yeah, that 255 don't really care about because I've got this other policy for final expense and burial insurance. But we've also talked to a lot of people that said, yeah, we had it, so we thought we were good, but the particular company that we had, they're giving us a runaround, they're not paying us, and we don't know what's going on. So with all of our decades of experience helping people out at those crucial moments, we kind of know which companies out there pay and which ones not necessarily don't, and how to protect your loved ones in case something happens to you. So give us a call on that, and we can walk you through the process. So my name is Dr. Ed Weir, a retired Social Security Administration District Manager. I help, me and my team help people throughout the country with all things Social Security, Medicare. That includes Medicare Part A, Part B, Part C, Part D. And as you can see, we help people every single day navigate the bureaucracy that we once ran. So give us a call if you have any questions, and don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to do some more of these actual cases and watch all the other videos we have, and let's see if we can get you some more money. Have a beautiful day.